How are we, boys and girls? Welcome to the Going Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Braam Hein, creating Koala on all social media platforms, and here we'll be deep diving on all things health and wellness related. Hopefully, you are doing fantastic. Hopefully, everything's going fantastic for you and your family. I'm going fantastic. I don't know what to tell you. That's about it. Been long hours recently, being tired, but it's okay. We're good. And I also apologize for the late upload. I've been having issues with the mic. But we're all sorted now, hopefully. If not, the video is still going out anyway. Today's episode is about how to easily hit your protein goals, hit your protein daily goals, and how you can do it in the most efficient way possible, right? We'll go over why people don't usually get their protein goals, how to plan out your protein goals better, and some habits you can instill within your day that you should probably do in terms of getting your protein in and being able to do it in the easiest way possible so you have no excuses to not get your protein. So, as I've previously talked about in episodes prior to episode 29, which is crazy to say, nearly at episode 30, but protein is essential for the body, regardless of any of your goals, regardless of anything. It is an essential macronutrient for your body. Your body needs it for muscle growth, repair. It needs it for maintaining good body composition. It needs it for immune responses. It just needs it, and that's really it. For protein goals, it's different for everybody depending on what your goal is, right? For most people, you need at least 0.6 grams per pound of body weight, or roughly 1.2, I think, per kg of body weight. And that's just to not get any downfalls from not hitting your protein, right? Getting that will be able to hit all your baseline goals, and you'll be able to be at a steady, healthy level for protein levels. Now, is that something you need to hit every day? In my opinion, yes. But obviously, there's going to be some days where either you're on vacation or things happen and you won't hit that. It's not going to be the end of the world if you don't hit that. But the longer you prolong not hitting that and you just downplay it, that's when the negative health effects are going to come. So my goal every day is to hit at least 180 grams of protein. I usually hit 200. That's just because I'm very locked in and keyed on that. So that's how I do it. But my bare minimum for a day is 120 because I'm a 200-pound guy. My minimum I have to, no matter what, hit is 120. And even if I'm not tracking in a day, I know for a fact I'm going to get at least that because, I've calorie counted for a long time, so I know how to manipulate plates and dishes and what I'm going to get to at least hit 120 in a day. So it really depends on your goals. Again, like if you're someone who wants to lose weight, going more in the upper of the 0.6 to 1 will help you for sure. But if you're trying to maintain or you're not really interested in getting the most benefits out of your protein, which some people are, you still need to get at least 0.6. Okay? So that's for the daily goals. So where people miss hitting their protein goals is that they're A, either not tracking, or B, just not tracking well enough. And also intermittent fasting. I'll get to that in a second, but going over the not tracking thing, if you don't know how much protein is in some things, or you think there's more protein in some things than other things, aka peanut butter, because I know peanut butter has been seen previously to be a good protein source, and also eggs, they aren't high in protein. Like if I've seen people who say they have 2 eggs for breakfast, and that's a high protein breakfast. In reality, that's 14 to 16 grams of protein max, just from the eggs. So, although eggs are a good protein source in the overall grand scheme of things, if you're having two of them and you're considering that high protein and checking that box, you're not actually where you're needing to be. And you're not going to hit the goals. And then peanut butter obviously is, you're gonna have to eat like at least 2 tablespoons to get like 7 grams of peanut butter, 7 grams of protein, which is not a lot at all as a protein source. So at least having some idea of what you're tracking and having some idea of how much protein is in certain things will push you further towards your goals. Also, I've seen some people have a fear of like consuming whey protein supplements, like whey protein powder, because it's like bad for digestion or it's going to kill your liver or something, whatever people say. Protein powders are not bad for you. So if you're getting a good quality protein powder from a trusted company or organization, most of them will also have digestive aids in them, just because they know that some people aren't very uh what's the word, they just don't digest it very well. It's not like it's not allergic, I don't know what the word is, but they just don't digest it very well, so people stay clear of them. So, but most of them now like have some form of digestion fiber, prebiotic fiber in it to help with digestion. And if you also get an isolate, that is pretty much just the whey. So unless you're allergic to dairy and or whey, you'll be fine with those powders. A lot of vegan powders, honestly, people don't digest those well because there's just so much stuff in them to get the protein content up, and then also just trying to get them lower calorie and then to get them to actually taste bearable. So that's why I personally avoid vegan protein powders. Unless you're a vegan or a vegetarian or allergic to whey, I would also avoid those. Going to the intermittent fasting thing, people do intermittent fasting for fat loss, for trying to get healthier, and it does work. But in terms of protein goals, right? You still need to hit that in a day, even if you are in intermittent fasting. I mean, I personally kind of intermittent fast. I don't eat really till 10 or 11 each day, and I stop eating at around 5 or 6, depending on when I get back from my work. So it's easy for me because I know like that I need to focus on my protein goal. But if people who don't know much about protein, or like kind of what we just talked about with the tracking aspect, if you are intermittent fasting just for the health benefits, but you don't really know much about protein, you might not focus on the protein portion during that window that you can eat. So you might not be hitting the goals because you aren't eating as much in a day, which is a good thing, right? But you aren't also prioritizing protein and that kind of thing. So it is, and if you aren't eating just enough food, then you won't be anywhere near your goals. So it is something you have to focus on if you are intermittent fasting to be able to get the most bang for your buck with the fast, is by trying to get protein packed within that window. Okay, so also how to hit your protein goals, right? It's pretty easy to just say eat more protein, but it's more beneficial to kind of think of protein within a day as having protein rotations, right? So you're going to have animal-based, plant-based, and just convenience-based protein within your rotation, right? So being able to have these options in your house, with at your workplace, wherever, and having them within your rotation, you're able to know what ones are there and what you can grab quickly, or if you have more time to prepare things, you can go for the more things you need to cook, right? So animal-based, obviously you have chicken, beef, fish, eggs, all that kind of jazz. The general most bang for your buck protein sources, those are going to be the best. You can meal prep these. Having these meal prepped over a week span is very, very beneficial. And then you can also freeze a bunch. You can make a 2 weeks worth of chicken and beef, and then just eat some immediately, store some in the fridge, and then store some in the freezer, and you'll be swimming, right? That's a great way to be able to have protein that's either cooked or prepared or at least chopped up and able to thaw out. That's a great, great way to make sure that you're going to at least have some portions of protein in a day, in a week, right? Plant-based sources, kind of like beans, lentils, some forms of like peas. That's lentils, I guess. Most protein sources are going to come from lentils and beans. That's what you also have like tofu and stuff like that. But those ones are good as well to have in rotation, as they usually come in cans, so you can get them quick access and add them to other dishes that may not have as much protein, like soups or just like rice dishes. So having those in your rotation will better benefit you to hit your protein goal, because they're easily accessible and they are good sources of protein for the most part. But are they the most bang for your buck in terms of animal-based stuff? No. But you will be adding protein to meals that didn't previously have them, which is going to help you reach your goals. And then also I kind of put this convenience portion rotation of it, as in like pre-made protein shakes, maybe beef jerky, protein bars, protein powders, Greek yogurts, that kind of stuff that's quick grab and go, even like meat and cheese sticks, like the quick grab and go options that you can either take if you're running late, or if you just can't be bothered to cook, or if you can't be bothered to do anything. So you can kind of just grab it and go, or if you're gonna have a busy day, you're gonna be able to cook anything, you can grab those, you can chuck them in the fridge, or you can just bring them in your lunchbox or whatever. And they're the convenience things. Also, another convenience thing that isn't the cheapest option, but being able to know what fast food places have, and what restaurants or sit down places have, that you can either get meal prepped. Like I know people go to like Chipotle or like Whole Foods, and they just order a bunch of food and then just use that as meal prep, because you can like order like family sized meals or catering and then just meal prep that kind of stuff. That's not cheap, but that definitely is a way that you can meal prep or cater a lot of protein sources like chicken and steak, or sofritas, okay, tofu, from places like Chipotle or like Whole Foods, that can help you reach your goals quicker. Also, I just thought of this one, getting like pre-packaged, fully cooked things from grocery stores. Like there's one at Costco, it's like a pound of like fully cooked grass-fed sirloin or grass-fed chicken, or just getting like a rotisserie chicken from some of those places. Those are also very convenient ways to get protein in. So those are the ways that's one of the main ways that I feel like I have a lot of success with my protein goals, is because I am very planned about having protein options readily available at all times. So then I don't reach for any other kinds of things. Like I always have Quest chips or protein bars or Greek yogurt or pre-prepared meals that I can always go to, that will always help me reach my goals. And I know that they're there, and also I don't want to waste them personally. So I bought them, so I'm going to eat them. So yeah, that's how I personally get to my goals the fastest. Yeah. So some habits as well that I think are beneficial for reaching protein goals. One of the things that I like to focus on is whenever I have a meal, I eat the protein first. So always eat the chicken first, because it's slow. It helps slow digestion and aids in everything else. Like I talked about before, with muscle performance and muscle growth, and also just overall body composition. So I know that's one of the most important parts of a meal. And then I'll go to the other things like the fat sources and the carb sources. Usually the fat source and then the carb source last, because usually the carb source tastes the nicest, depending on what protein source you get, honestly, and also depending on what fat source you get. They usually taste the nicest, so I say that for last, just as a little trait. But I always like to focus on getting my protein in first. I also like to front load my protein in a day. Actually, that's not necessarily a lie, but I usually have overnight oats first thing in the morning, which are heavily packed proteins. My overnight oats have like 60 grams of protein in them, but I also do like to have the main majority of my meal in a day, in whatever meal I'm having in a day, be majority protein. There's some meals which, like my overnight oats, which are actually heavier in carbs, but that's also because it's usually my pre-workout meal before I eat at work. So I just eat that because I don't know, I need to get some carbs in for performance, obviously, at before my lift. So another one is that I usually like to double my protein portion sizes whenever I go out to eat, or whenever I go out to eat with like friends or my girlfriend or anything like that. It does cost a little bit more money. It usually costs like $2 or $3 extra, but it can go a long way because it can really not lower the calories within a meal, but make the meal a little bit high calorie, but a lot more protein dense. So I'm gonna be a lot more full. I'm not gonna have to uh, force anything down afterwards. I know I'm gonna be at least helping my protein quota in a day, and if I'm already at like 120 grams before that meal, then I'm definitely gonna be like 160, 180, depending on the meal, maybe even 200 grams of protein after that meal. So that very much helps me align that meal with my goals. I know it sounds bad to like saying I have to align my meal with that goals. Like even though I preach a lot of like going out and enjoying food, I do that, but I also still like to. For me personally, my brain just likes to hit my protein goal. When I do that, it makes me happy. So that's what I do. Um, and then again, like I kind of talked about before, prepping in bulk, like prepping the protein sources in bulk. And that can also be prepping the pre-made protein shakes and all those snacks, having them together. That like if you're not, if you have a protein shake and a protein bar and like an apple or whatever you bring to work, packaging them together before you leave, or packing them the night before you leave, so I can just quickly grab it and go. That will help you really focus in on, okay, it's already there, I know where it is, so even if I'm in a rush, I can quickly just grab it, so you don't have to reach for anything else, and you can really just get rid of the decision, because decision fatigue is a real thing. If you have too many choices to make, you're just going to opt for the easiest choice, which is just not grabbing anything and then just getting some fast food, or just getting an unhealthy processed meal in some capacity. So prepping in bulk is always the best thing. And also protein stacking. So having more than one protein source in a meal, like how I personally do that is I'll have some real good chicken tenders for dinner, right? And then I'll stack that with some Quest chips. So it's two different protein sources in one meal that are both complete protein sources, and they're also extremely nice. They taste good. So it's kind of like I'm not really eating protein on purpose. I'm getting over 100 grams of protein with two foods that I really like, but usually you'd have them in separate meals because they don't necessarily go together. But if you just stack, or like say the same thing, I had real good chicken tenders and then also had 2 cups of yogurt on the side. It's the same thing. It's just stacking two different sources of protein. So that's one thing that I try to do a lot. And then also, so say if you go to work and you have a turkey sandwich or something like that, it's a good source of protein. Stacking that with a protein bar, you're getting a lot more protein within that meal, but it also is two different items. So you feel like you're having more food. You feel like you're able to get so much more protein without having to necessarily add too much, right? That's something that I personally do a lot with pretty much all of my meals. And again, the last thing that I kind of want to hop on here is that you should implement one of these at a time. If you aren't doing any of these, just implement one at a time. Don't try to go balls to the walls with everything and then strictly just eat protein. I'm not suggesting that in the slightest. But what I do want to heavily, heavily harp on is that consistency will always be perfection. If you have an exact goal of I have to get 200 grams of protein in a day, and you don't hit that goal, it's not the end of the world because you are aiming for the upper echelon of the protein recommendation. So as long as you're getting below like above the baseline and you're within that range, you're okay. That is consistently hitting within the range, and that's good. If you hit over, congratulations, extra brownie points. You're doing fantastic. But for me, I always used to try and like get to exactly 200 grams, and then I'd be at like 196, and I'd be like, ah, shit, I need to change this entire meal because I need to get 4 more grams of protein somehow. And then I'd just focus way too much on that, and it'd be like a whole goose chase of trying to figure out different ways to make a high protein thing. But at the end of the day, I got 196 grams of protein, which is 76 grams above the baseline that I actually truly need. So I did fantastic. I did a great job. Um, but and now I'm kind of at the stage where I'm gonna hit 180 at least minimum, no matter what, really, in a day. There's very, very, very few days in the past 3 or 4 years where I haven't hit that. Um, and even then, I can guarantee you from the bottom of my heart in the past 5 years, I haven't not eaten 120 grams of protein in a day, except for days where I have purposefully fasted for the entire day. But that's also just for different reasons, right? And again, if you don't hit that in a day, like I just said, like I fasted the entire day, that's not because I wasn't trying to not hit my protein goal. That was just because I was trying to focus on a different goal that day. And consistency will always beat perfection in anything you do, but especially this. As long as you are consistently hitting at least your floor, then you're good. And that's all that matters. And then your floor will just raise eventually. It'll get easier. It'll get easier. You'll find what works for you within that day, within your weeks, within like vacation trips. Sometimes it's better to just on vacation trips just get meals that have extra protein in them, or maybe get like a charcuterie board to start, which because it's meat and cheese. And I'm not saying that's like the healthiest thing or the lowest calorie thing, but it is pretty hefty in protein. So you're gonna hit your protein goal for sure. And again, consistency, especially with protein, will always beat trying to perfect everything within your macronutrient goals. That's gonna be it for me today because I am absolutely floored right now. It's been busy. It's been very, very good, but it's been very. I can't even speak right now. It's been very, very busy, but we are swimming. We're doing well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. If you guys have any recommendations for the next episode, let me know. I'll be filming that this weekend. Again, I apologize for the late upload, but we are cooking with gas. We're going again. Mic should hopefully be fixed, so we should be good. And hopefully you have a fantastic day or a fantastic night, whatever you're doing. And I will see you all next week.